Trump has a playbook for how he handles people who try to hold him accountable. In August 2023, President Trump shared that playbook on social media for everyone to see. Trump has said that you, Mr. Smith, should be investigated and put in prison.
What happens when a criminal investigation is blocked from public view and the investigator becomes the target? In this tense moment, Representative Balint exposes how a gag order, political pressure, and personal attacks collide, forcing Jack Smith to answer a chilling question. What happens when a president uses threats and intimidation to try to shut down accountability?
Now, I understand that the district judge, Aileen Cannon, the Trump appointee who oversaw the case in Florida, issued a gag order that prevents you from discussing any parts of the classified documents investigation that is not already public. I understand that, including your findings that you laid out in volume 2 of that report. Am I correct that the reason your report is not available in full to the public is because of this gag order?
I wrote a report. The Attorney General, it was submitted to him. I understand generally that there's been litigation about whether this report would be public or not. I have not been a party to that litigation. I just know that there is an order, and I know the Department of Justice, the current Department of Justice, has interpreted that order in a way that I cannot speak about anything that could possibly be in that report and its findings.
And when Judge Cannon issued that gag order, she cited pending cases against Trump's codefendants. Is that correct?
I'm sorry?
When Judge Cannon issued the gag order, she cited pending cases against Trump's codefendants. Is that correct?
That's my recollection.
Are those cases still pending?
No, they're not.
No, they're not. So there is no reason, from where I sit, for this important information to be not made public. At this point, I want to turn now to President Trump's attacks on you. Trump has a playbook for how he handles people who try to hold him accountable. In August 2023, right after your office indicted him, President Trump shared that playbook on social media for everyone to see. He wrote, "If you go after me, I'm coming for you." Trump has said that you, Mr. Smith, should be investigated and put in prison. He called you a disgrace to humanity, a radical left Marxist, a criminal. In fact, Trump has used the words deranged Jack Smith 185 times on Truth Social. How do you think that these statements have impacted you, your staff, and your investigation?
With respect to me, I think the statements are meant to intimidate me. I will not be intimidated. I think these statements are also made as a warning to others what will happen if they stand up. And I am, as I say, I'm not going to be intimidated. We did our work pursuant to department policy. We followed the facts and we followed the law, and that process resulted in proof beyond a reasonable doubt that he committed serious crimes. I'm not going to pretend that didn't happen because he's threatening me.
And Mr. Smith, do you believe that President Trump's Department of Justice will find some way to indict you?
I believe that they will do everything in their power to do that because they've been ordered to by the president.
That's very concerning, obviously. It's very concerning to all of us, at least on this side of the aisle. This is Trump's playbook at work. Complain loudly, gin up hatred and resentment, then express a hope that somebody will do something, but never explicitly order anyone to act, and then watch as his followers and loyalists go after their targets. This is what happened on January 6th. Trump stood at the ellipse and gave a campaign speech to his supporters, and he said, "If you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore." And I think it's clear that his intimidation will stop at nothing. I want to speak on behalf, in closing, I want to speak on behalf
No
of
closing.
people.
Chairman, regular order.
No, I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman,
I'm
regular
sorry
order.
you have gone over numerous times.
Time
I am
belongs to the
taking
gentlelady
my
from Vermont.
few
I'll let you
moments.
go a couple
Thank
more
you,
seconds.
Mr.
Like
Chair.
I have all day.
Thank you. On behalf of the people of the state of Vermont, thank you for all of your 30 years of service to this country, and to the police officers sitting here. I'm ashamed that you have not gotten your due.
This segment cuts into two deeply troubling issues at the heart of the hearing. the public being denied access to key findings, and the growing pattern of intimidation directed at those who investigate Donald Trump. Representative Balint makes clear that this is not just a procedural dispute. It is about whether critical information is being kept from the American people, and whether threats from a former president are being used to shape the justice system through fear. The discussion begins with the gag order issued by Judge Aileen Cannon, a Trump appointee, which prevents Jack Smith from speaking about portions of the classified documents investigation that are not already public. Smith explains that he submitted a full report to the Attorney General, but that the Department of Justice has interpreted the court's order in a way that prevents him from discussing findings that could be contained in that report. This means the public does not have access to potentially significant conclusions about one of the most serious investigations involving a former president. Balint presses on the justification for that silence. She points out that the gag order was tied to pending cases against Trump's codefendants, and Smith confirms that those cases are no longer pending. From Balint's perspective, that removes the original rationale for keeping this information hidden. The exchange raises a serious concern. If the reason for secrecy is gone, why is the information still being withheld? The result is a situation where the public is left in the dark, while political narratives continue to spread. The focus then shifts to Trump's repeated and aggressive attacks on Jack Smith. Balint lays out Trump's own words, including his statement, "If you go after me, I'm coming for you." She details how Trump has publicly called for Smith to be investigated, imprisoned, and discredited, even using the phrase deranged Jack Smith over 100 times. These are not isolated remarks. They form a pattern designed to pressure, intimidate, and signal to others what happens when they pursue accountability. Smith's response is direct. He states that these attacks are meant to intimidate him and to send a warning to anyone else who might stand up to Trump. He makes it clear that he will not be intimidated, and that his office followed department policy, followed the facts, and followed the law. He also states that his investigation produced proof beyond a reasonable doubt that serious crimes were committed. That statement is significant. It shows that, in his view, the evidence was strong enough to meet the highest criminal standard, regardless of political pressure. Balint then raises a deeply unsettling question: whether Trump's Department of Justice would try to indict Jack Smith himself. Smith responds that he believes they will do everything in their power to do so, because they have been ordered to by the president. That answer underscores the fear that law enforcement could be turned into a tool of retaliation rather than justice. It points to a scenario where investigators are not just criticized, but actively targeted. Balint connects this pattern of intimidation to Trump's broader behavior. She describes what she calls Trump's playbook: stir anger, attack individuals publicly, imply that something should be done, and then watch as loyalists move against those targets. She draws a direct line between that pattern and what happened on January 6th, when Trump used charged language and told supporters to fight for their country. Her point is not just about rhetoric. It is about how repeated messages can create real-world consequences. The emotional weight of the moment grows when Balint thanks Smith for his decades of service and expresses frustration that he was not given the time to fully speak. Her closing reflects a broader concern about how public servants who follow the law are treated when their work becomes politically inconvenient. This exchange leaves viewers with a stark picture: a criminal investigation constrained by court orders, a former president publicly attacking the investigator, and the looming possibility of retaliation through the justice system itself. It forces a serious question about whether accountability can survive when intimidation becomes part of political strategy. Rather than focusing only on legal technicalities, this moment exposes the human cost of standing up to power. It shows how investigators, prosecutors, and public servants can become targets simply for doing their jobs. The message is clear. This is not just about one case or one person. It is about whether the rule of law can function when threats, pressure, and silence are used to shape what the public is allowed to see and who is allowed to speak.